Yes.
Aaron on the call right now.
Ladies and gentlemen at home, please welcome Mr. Aaron Forsythe.
Hello, hello.
Yay.
Hey Aaron, how's it going?
Very well.
Ooh, I like the background.
First question, what is that an uncut sheet of?
That is the time-shifted cards from Time Spiral.
Wow, spicy. Sorry, that's not actually my first question. It's just I saw that and deep in my heart I had to know. So there's a blog post up on desertbus.org for you, the viewers, to go and pose whatever questions to Aaron you wish to ask, and I'll be going through that post to ask him some of those questions. But in the meantime, for the benefit of those of our viewers who may not be previously aware, could you please introduce yourself and who you are, and what you do, rather?
Sure. My name's Aaron Forsythe. I am the Senior Director of Research and Development for Magic the Gathering at Wizards of the Coast. That means I'm in charge of all the people that make all the awesome card sets that hopefully you're out there enjoying. The designers, the developers, the editors, the creative types that do all the illustration, names, and flavor text, and the digital team as well that does all the game design there.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's many responsibilities.
Means I'm in a lot of meetings.
Sounds exciting.
It seems the chat was just trying to bid on your the uncut sheet behind Aaron is his. It is not up for auction.
That was a gift from my boss.
I'm sorry? I didn't quite catch that.
I said that was a gift from my boss, so I'm going to keep it.
That seems fair. Seems fair. So how are you doing today?
Very well.
Great. We just had a sort of live auction madness evening, so we're all feeling very sort of like now. So this is nice just to sit down and have a chat.
It seems like a tough act to follow. I'll do my best.
Yes. Thank you also for rescheduling the call to work around that. Indeed, it was much appreciated. So I'm going to just jump right into these questions. There's some that are a little bit more broad and some that are quite specific. So I may as well start with the first one, which is one of the more specific ones. Are you happy and/or excited with the direction Planeswalker cards are moving as more and more are printed? Because I have personally noticed that newer walkers seem more playable than many older ones without being oppressive. From Exploding Lobster.
Well, thank you. Yes, I think we found our feet as far as what Planeswalkers are capable of. We kind of overshot at the beginning with some of them. And then undershot for a while, but I think we've kind of triangulated the right spot for Planeswalker cards. We'd like most of them to be playable and often very good in constructed formats, but we like the ones that go in certain kinds of decks as opposed to just every deck that could cast them. A good example of that would be Sorin, Lord of Innistrad from Dark Ascension. Like, he's very good in a black-white deck that can make a lot of token creatures, but you wouldn't just play him necessarily in any deck that could make black and white mana. And the more we can do that, that just means we can have a broader scope of what Planeswalkers are capable of, and a whole bunch of different decks that are playing a whole bunch of different Planeswalkers, as opposed to everyone always playing the same one or two all the time.
Nice. What color of Magic do you most closely identify with? And if you can't pick a single color, then which guild?
Well, the guild I associate with is Boros. I kind of like the motto of victory through punching.
Yes.
It's just kind of like the hard ass. You know you're on the right side of things, but if you have to rough a few people up, that's okay. That's a good way to get stuff done. Especially in the game industry. But as a singular color, the one I like to play the most is green. I enjoy creatures. I enjoy big creatures. I enjoy token creatures. I don't like getting my stuff counterspelled, so that makes me the kind of quintessential green mage.
Nice. Here's a question. This is the questioner asks, I've been casually designing and creating card games for several years now, and I've always looked up to Magic for its creativity and design. How did you start working as a member of R&D, and how would someone start down a path to work there?
How I started, is the way a lot of the guys that work for me started, which was playing a ton, playing professionally on the Pro Tour and at other large tournaments, and at the same time kind of contributing to the community via writing and editing various websites, just making yourself kind of a public figure in the Magic community, getting noticed. You end up talking to guys that worked at Wizards, and they'll recommend you for, why don't you apply for this position and whatnot. I actually got hired at the company to run MagicTheGathering.com right when it debuted. I was the content manager for that website, and I moved into R&D after 2 years, and I've kind of moved up the chain since then. We have a couple ways that I would recommend trying to get in. The first one is the one that I just described. Become a very, very good player, an outspoken player, someone that kind of looks at the game critically, makes suggestions, a ton of writing, talking to people at tournaments, especially Wizards employees, give us your thoughts, whatnot. Just basically make yourself known to us in some way that, you're talented, dedicated, and think about the game critically. Another way that we've hired a whole bunch of people from is we occasionally run a series of challenges called the Great Designer Search on our website, where we're looking for people that might not be good at tournaments but are very creative game design thinkers. And it's a challenge. You sign up. It takes several weeks. We say, try designing these kind of cards. Try designing these kind of cards under a very tight deadline. It's a challenge. And then we narrow, just like a game show, we narrow it down, 16 competitors down to 8, down to 4, down to 2, and we'll bring the final few in for interviews. And we've hired, I don't know, somewhere around six or seven people just from those two competitions. So those are the two best ways. And then the third way I would say is just try to get hired at Wizards however you can, whether that's in game support, answering phones, working for sales, anything like that. And then, show us you have a penchant for R&D work, and, we'll work you in somehow.
Yeah, a friend of ours actually started working there as, I believe, phone-based customer service, and is now working in the pit.
Who's that? Dan Emmons?
Dan Emmons, yeah.
Yeah, yep, Dan works for me.
Yeah. How many days has it been since you've heard Mark Rosewater all the way over here?
There's so the Magic Pit is on one half of R&D, and then on the other half, across a bank of offices several feet away, is the smaller pit that makes Duel Masters and Kaijudo. And they have written on the wall there, number of days since we've heard Mark Rosewater all the way over here. Mark is a loud man. And that number is either 0 or 1, depending if Mark's been in the office that day or not.
What is your personal favorite aspect of the Theros set? The person goes on to say a bunch of really cool stuff about Theros, but I'm gonna trim it down to what is your personal favorite aspect of the set?
From a design perspective, I just love the top-down flavor of some of the Greek myths that we managed to capture on card form. The Rescue from the Underworld, the Crow and Horse, things like that there's cards that tell stories, which is just a huge passion of mine from a game design perspective. So I'm really happy that we managed to do that on several of those. But from a player, I think my favorite thing is that in the draft format, that there are so many different styles of play this time. It's not a format that is just aggressive or a format that is just slow. You can draft a fast deck, you can draft a mid-speed deck, you can draft a slow controlling deck. And to me, that's the goal of us putting together any kind of draft format, is to allow players to do what they want and succeed with it. And Theros, more than just about any set that we've worked on in the past few years, does that in spades.
Sorry, I'm just checking some of these other questions. Is there any way that you foresee that we could ever see a one casting cost Planeswalker?
It would be done as a gimmick, I suppose. Like, this stands out. It's the Goblin Planeswalker, or it's this. If we ever got drunk and made Fibblethip a Planeswalker, I'm sure. And it almost like, get it? He's 1 mana. That's what makes him unique and special. It would probably be very, very weak, because I can't imagine trying to deal with basically a second player on the battlefield before you even got a turn. None are in the pipeline right now, I can tell you that. But at some point, we try just about everything.
Well, maybe if there's another, unset on the horizon.
All right, I'll take that note.
All right. Will we ever get to see Lizard Wizard as a creature type? I just really want Lizard Wizards.
We joke about that one, and we also talk about Dryad Druid is another one that keep trying to put on cards.
This is just to mess with the coverage team, isn't it?
Right. I won't say it couldn't happen. I'm sure it would have to pass through a lot of scrutiny, and I think that the card would have to be kind of played for a laugh in that way. I can't imagine trying to make one of our preeminent legendary characters that we want people to, get very excited about, a Lizard Wizard. But again, if we want to make something cute and funny, that sounds like a pretty reasonable thing to try. I will say that watching the last Friday nights you guys did with the taxonomically correct creature type game or whatever it was,
yeah,
you'd be surprised how many hours of our lives are wasted in R&D doing just that.
Oh, that's encouraging.
Bronze Sable from Theros. Oh my God, it was. Is this a ferret? Should it be a weasel? We don't have a creature type for this. Let's make a new one. Maybe, but we picked Sable, and then we're like, is Great Sable Stag supposed to be a Sable? Then what do we do? What if we make a Stoat or an Ermine? What are we going to call that now? And da-da-da. Oh, jeez.
I actually had to, because I was curious, and I knew that our fans would be curious, because people care, I did ask the rules manager, Matt Tabak, on Twitter, if Great Sable Stag would be oracled to be a Sable, or if indeed it was called so because Sable is also a type of coloring of animal coats, and indeed it is the latter, and Great Sable Stag is not a Sable. Also, Sable the Bronze Sable is still being called a satyr on the Magic Online beta. Just bug report.
Alright, didn't know that.
There's a question here with the devotion mechanic. I'm going to sort of tweak this question slightly. With the devotion mechanic being sort of a fixed reprint, we'll call it, of the chroma mechanic, does this sort of because I think this is the first time that it's happened quite like this, is this going to sort of open the door to maybe quasi reprint some older mechanics that maybe didn't quite work but really almost could?
Yeah, I mean, we're certainly not shy about just straight up reprinting mechanics. We've done that every block for the last few. Flashback. I don't know that we actually, in Ravnica, we had split cards again. I guess we renamed those as, what were they called? Now I'm stuck.
The fuse cards or whatever.
Fuse, right. So call them entwined, but it's fuse, right. Sorry. But yeah, when we want to bring one back, one thing we will be doing in the future is deciding if it would do better with a better name. And in this case, we took Chroma, kind of trimmed it down to just one aspect. Chroma, when it was an Eventide, would count cards. Sometimes it would count mana symbols in your hand. Sometimes it would count them on the battlefield. Sometimes it would count them of the spells you're casting. We just said battlefield only. Called it Devotion, which was just an amazing flavor home run. It really played up how the gods worked, and I fit it in the set really well. And I think we'll do that. Another one we keep talking about doing, which we haven't pulled the trigger on yet, is Bushido from Kamigawa block, which plays really well, but we can't just throw that on any creature in the game. But if we brought that one back, it would get a different creative treatment.
There's a question from Pariah164. For those looking to play Magic for the first time, like me, where should they start?
Download the free trial of Duels of the Planeswalkers on Steam or Xbox Live Arcade or on the iTunes Store. And then it's also on Sony and Android as well. Free. You can play for several hours just with that. It teaches you the rules, how mana works, how combat works, the different card types. And then if you're into it, for $10, you can download the full game that just has dozens of hours of gameplay, cards from all different sorts of sets. You play against the AI. You don't have to worry about getting your teeth kicked in at the store by people you don't know yet. Perfect way to learn.
That's from the perspective of players as well. That's the same answer we give whenever people ask us. I think that's a great place to learn.
Also watching Friday nights.
Yes. When did you first realize you had the coolest last name?
What? Just now, I guess.
Congratulations.
Good answer.
What's your favorite part of Magic? Designing, developing, or playing?
It has to be playing. I've gone through long stretches where I haven't gotten a chance to play. Just too busy, too many meetings or whatnot, and I still have work to do on the game. I'm still filling out card files. I'm still reading all the cards, and I'm like, getting twitchy because I'm not getting my hands dirty playing with the cards. That said, I wouldn't give up this job to go back to being a player by any stretch of the imagination. But the fact that I get to do all the designing and developing and keep playing, it just makes it the dream scenario.
What's your favorite set?
My guilty pleasure favorite set as a player is Time Spiral, hence the sheet over my back shoulder. It is insanely complicated, full of in-jokes, kind of just plays right into, if you've been playing for 15 years, you'll get all this. Otherwise, it's going to seem like gibberish. But as someone who had been playing for 15 years, it was made for me, basically by me and people like me. So it didn't perform particularly well as a product, but I love playing it.
This seems like kind of a broad question, but maybe you can give some sort of thoughts on it. What do you hope to see for the Pro Tour GP circuit going forward? So I guess, how do you feel it's doing at the moment, and are there changes that you'd like to see?
It's doing very well. Participation in all of the events that lead up to it is way up over the past few years, and viewership of our online coverage on Twitch TV is up a lot as well over the last few years. We're at an interesting point where we're balancing the entertainment of it versus the participation in it, which is kind of tough. We like having these tournaments where our best players and our most recognizable figures, and these guys that are out on the internet all the time writing articles or streaming on Magic Online, are making it to the top levels of the events. So we don't want our tournaments to be, our pro tours to be 1,000 people big. Even though I think we could accommodate that with a number of qualifiers. There's so many people interested in playing. So we're really we're running more Grand Prix to kind of satisfy that desire of people to both play in large tournaments with high stakes and get to interact with the famous pro players that they've seen online. So we're going to keep just adding that and growing and growing and growing and see how that keeps going for us. But it's working great.
Sweet.
The Twitch coverage of the Pro Tours are amazing.
Oh, yeah.
They're fantastic.
I agree.
What?
You're a bit biased.
I agree. You're a little biased. I agree. But let's be honest.
We've
Whoa!
$12,000 since we started this call.
Wow.
I just submitted mine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wanted to say, actually, that... we have a great relationship with Wizards of the Coast, obviously through the Friday nights series that we do, and James and I getting to do actual coverage for the Community Cup was a real treat for me. And Wizards has been great supporters of Desert Bus for the past 4 years now, I think. And I just wanted to let you know, Aaron, that the three uncut sheets that you guys sent our way this year, it was a common and uncommon and a rare sheet, all in foil. Between live auction and giveaways for those items, just those 3 sheets raised over $22,000.
Wow.
Which is just,
That is impressive.
It's staggering, and we really, really appreciate the support.
You guys are a lot of fun. We love working with you, and glad you got to come to our PAX party this year as well.
The PAX party was a blast. That was a lot of fun. Getting to see slightly tipsy Brian Kibler complaining to me about Thoughtseize was actually it was a pretty special moment. It was,
I
I didn't catch that, sorry.
That guy's a complainer.
Oh, Brian. There's one more question that I want to ask from the blog before we move on to the question that we ask everyone. The question from the blog: do you think that we will ever see, and frankly, do you even want this? Do you think we'll ever see Magic back on ESPN?
Wait, what? What?
Yes, it was on ESPN. ESPN2 to be more specific. I was actually a player when that was happening. I have some old videotapes of myself playing on ESPN, which I used to show to friends and family, but I don't have a VCR anymore, so those have been retired. Do I want it back on there? I don't know. I think now with the advent of streaming things on like Twitch TV and other ways to kind of get your content directly to the people that want to see it, as opposed to having to clean it up and produce it for an audience that might not quite get what you're trying to do. I don't think that's necessarily the way that we should be going. I think we have a way better platform for getting our game out to people that want to see it with live streaming of our events, and we can run it for hours and hours and hours instead of trying to jam it all into half an hour or an hour. So it was cool that it happened then, but I'm really happy with the setup for Magic and games of all kinds now to have this outlet to get their content right to their viewers.
I definitely agree. I think that I'd much rather go on twitch.tv/magic when I want to watch Magic rather than have to sit through, I don't know, those things with the balls that they do on ESPN. Sports, that's the one. Sports ball.
Yeah, we were on at like 2:30 in the morning or something like that, so it was...
You'd get a terrible time slot, too, that's true.
Canoeing and darts.
Yeah. So, while I still have you on, I just wanted to point out for those watching, if you see in the bottom right of your screen right now, we are currently doing a donation drive giveaway for yet another thing that Wizards was kind enough to send us this year. This is I've personally entered this donation drive because this makes me tingle in places. Mm-hmm. This is the,
I'll be doing the same shortly.
Black on Black Planeswalker Comic-Con exclusive set. Do you recall offhand, Aaron, how quickly these sold out at Comic-Con?
I don't know. It was a matter of hours. It was definitely the first thing to sell out from the Hasbro booth because we were getting emails from Hasbro people saying, "What did you make here exactly? Oh my God!"
And so you can't get these, but you could get one now by donating $19.10 to Child's Play through Desert Bus. Go to desertbus.org, put in a donation of $19.10, and you are entered to win. If you enter donations of multiples of that, you will be entered multiple times, and you're never going to get a better deal than that. That's for darn. That's why I entered. That's why I think a lot of this room is entered.
That is definitely one of the coolest items we've made in a long time.
They're so amazing looking.
Oh,
So far.
we'll definitely have an updated and impressive numerical total for donations after we give these away.
Yeah. So something we're asking all of our guests and callers this year is we have someone in the chat who's offering us $7 for every superhero we collect. So I'd like to ask you for your idea of a brand new superhero. Doesn't necessarily have to be one that you would be, but one that you think should be. And we need a name and a power.
All right, let's see. My daughters are super into superheroes right now, so they come up with some ridiculous ones. I'll give you one that my middle daughter had was Butterman.
Butterman.
She's 6 years old, and so the power of her hero is that he can excrete butter from his hands to put butter on his bread and his corn as much as he wants.
I like that. I like that a lot.
For bread and corn, or like to foil people with like greasy slicks.
Is it just for food, or can he just excrete butter whenever?
I guess for whatever. Probably whatever. Give you the little rub down.
We had a previous hero that was Waffle Man, so they should team up.
Together. Yeah.
Even with a syrup ally, actually.
Yeah.
So it's the full set right there.
Heroes. I was trying to explain to my kids what you guys were doing on here, and I showed them the driver cam.
Yeah.
They're like, why would anyone ever play this? Why don't they want to play Lego Marvel?
We would much rather play Lego Marvel.
We do want to.
Yeah, I mean, given the option, I don't think there's many games we wouldn't rather be playing right now.
I don't think the internet will get such incredible joy out of forcing us to play Lego Marvel, though.
What is the average shift length that you have to pull on that game?
We do 12-hour shifts. Yeah, so Matt only just started his shift an hour ago. How are you holding up?
I'm all right at the moment. How long into this was Bill when I took over? Like, am I in a?
You're due for a point because he crashed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
How many points do you guys have?
So I could conceivably do a 2-point shift.
Yeah, I think right now I think we have no points currently, but we've had a total of I think no at a time. I think total over the course of the run this year we've gained 13
points.
13 points
We've had-
because it takes 8 hours to get 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
And if you crash, then you have to start again. So we were up as high as 9. We had 9 consecutive points in one run, and then there was some crashes. But since then we've had, like 4 other points, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, we've had 5 crashes total.
All right, yeah. So that's Desert Bus.
We're real good at playing this game.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're better than anyone else in the world.
Yeah, we actually are good at this game.
We're the best at this game because we're the only people who've bothered to try.
Yeah.
Well, we will let you go, Aaron. Thank you so much.
Before we do-
but before we do,
How many ukuleles do you own?
oh yes,
Sadly, 0.
No ukuleles.
tied with most of our callers with 0 ukuleles, unsurprisingly. But thank
I own a lot
you.
of recorders.
I'm sorry.
Said I own a lot of recorders.
Oh, how many recorders?
I don't know, 2 or 3. So the kids are learning in music class these days.
Oh yes, of course. They still do recorders.
Yep.
Well, that's good to know at least. I could play Skyboat Song from memory.
Well, that's very good.
I don't think I can anymore, but I used to be able to.
All right.
So, you
An
know,
achievement.
cool story, bro. Right?
Exactly
Yeah.
that.
All
Yeah.
right. Aaron, thank you so much for calling in. We really appreciate you rescheduling the call a little bit there to make room for more Ken Stacy auctions.
Welcome.
And thank you. And
Everybody
please,
who plays Magic in the room is giving you hearts.
yes,
'cause-
please
Love it. Thank you.
pass on our thanks to everyone at
will.
Wizards for the continued support.
Great work, guys.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Yay.